is not receiving leads.
Well, how do you monitor that?
Well, we are very, very interactive with our leads, so they're not automatically assigned.
Okay.
Very hands-on with them.
So if I don't show up that morning, I don't get a lead that day?
Correct, all day. Right. They understand the why, though. The why is well communicated, and it's really for their benefit.
Well, I love it. I don't have a problem with that. No problem at all. So point number 2.
So point number 2 is saying it enough times, and that's where Ben and our team say do the 50 calls, the 50 dials. It sounds very simple, right? But doing the 50 is really important to helping our agents reach their goals. We have a CRM database that helps us track whether or not that's done.
Right. So you've got you know whether they made, is this 50 follow-up? This is 50 lead gen? This is, what is this? 50 what?
It's 50 dials to individuals that are not yet under contract. So it can be follow-up.
Okay.
And the leads can also be their sphere of influence or an open house lead. It doesn't just have to be team leads like web leads and other lead sources.
And so why 50? What's the number 50 about?
The number 50, we've tried, well, it sounds like a good number, doesn't it? 50 calls.
Love it.
But we've found that we lead generate from 9 a.m. until 12 or 12:30. And we find that if it's any more than 50, it's a little bit more challenging to put that number into the 9 to 12 lead generation time blocking.
Gotcha.
So we really do follow that model quite closely.
50's pushing it. 50 can be done. You can't linger for too long on each call.
Correct.
Gotcha. Awesome. I love it.
So the third thing in the real estate success principles is having enough people to say it to. And that is really a lead issue for us. So when an agent joins our real estate team, we expect that they will bring 50% of the leads to the table. And that is their sphere and people in their role, possibly past clients if they're an experienced realtor. And then the team brings 50% to the table. And out of all of them, of course, they'll find their 50 dials.
How do they generate those?
You know, we have one database that brings all of it together. So the same database that would hold a web lead holds a sphere of influence, which is really, really well in the organizational aspect of it and knowing if the 50 calls are actually done, so that they're all in the same place. We use spreadsheets like Sphere and Gear spreadsheet for agents to be able to have a very, very strong sphere plan. So we don't just expect that they'll bring these leads to the table and then it's their problem where they have to deal with it. We provide systems in helping them nurture and convert those leads.
And point number 4.
Right, so this is about accountability, which is one of my most passionate topics. I meet with each buyer agent on the team once a week, and we call them power hours, 411 sessions, accountability sessions. And I know accountability is a taboo word, but sometimes you can't sugarcoat it, you just have to say it like it is. So in these power sessions, they're about 15 minutes long, and we have the 411, which for some of you who may not be Keller Williams, the 411 is business and personal goals for the year, broken down into the month, and then carried down into 4 weeks. So myself and my accountability partner, they're able to see their goals are very visual, and we go through those together. We pick the most important topic that we want to accomplish that week. And when you and I spoke on the phone, Gary, we said how sometimes that list can be quite long. And before I try and tackle all of them, and that was not successful. So we picked the one thing. In addition to the 411, we use this weekly tracking sheet, which is for numbers.
People can hide behind numbers. They can hide behind the volume of things. If you talk about all these things, they're going to pick the one that they're most comfortable with, and they're going to stick a victory flag in it, and they're going to claim, well, at least I did that. Right?
Right.
When you prioritize and figure out what matters most, there's no hiding. Right?
Right. Absolutely. And this is creating transparency. So the weekly tracking sheet that you can see here is really numbers based, and we track their goals versus actual. So where you want to go, where you are now, and the gap in between, and really the goal is to bridge that gap. But when doing the 50, we can see, the agents can see their progress because they'll see their numbers start to grow, and it's exciting. So this tracking sheet isn't just for me to hold them accountable, it's for them to watch their numbers grow and be very encouraged by it. So we have a list of their top 5 buyers that they want to get under contract that week. And it's very visual. We'll have them put it on the wall. They can see it every day, and they know that that's their focus. These are the 5 people that they want to get under contract. And in the next week, we'll see if they actually did get it under contract.
How do people respond to this meeting? Do they come and go? Or do they come around? What's the real world?
The real world. Accountability is not always a fun task. It's not. And when Ben holds me accountable, sometimes it's very painful. But very worthwhile. And when I help them see the growth and the benefits of it, then they become more excited about that meeting. And also, it's not a long meeting. We don't sit and brainstorm for an hour. It's 15 minutes.
So they come in once a week for 15 minutes.
Right.
So how do you get a lot accomplished in 15 minutes?
With the structure of the 411 and this weekly tracking sheet, it's very much on task for what their numbers are and what the one biggest priority is for them that week.
Yeah, you get 15 minutes. Well, I see that there's a timer there. What's that about?
The timer, the sand timer, this is one of my favorite tools, or toys if you want to call it, that I use for my weekly 411s. And an agent will come into my office and I take the sand timer and I turn it over when our session begins so you can visually see the time start to slip away. And they understand. I always explain it to them before I just ruthlessly turn it over, right? So, and go. So it stresses the importance of making the most out of every minute that we have together. So they're not wasting my time, I'm not wasting their time. How can we make the most out of every single minute in our accountability session?
Now, are you doing it for them, or you're doing it for you?
It's both.
Right. That helps you as well. Keeps you on track?
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Because you can lose your willpower and get distracted and be fatigued, and all of a sudden you look up and you go, I'm wasting their time.
And I'm a high I, so that can happen.
Yep.
Great. I'm very inspired by the CEO of Yahoo. Her name is Marissa Mayer, and she was hired by Yahoo when she was 37.